at an amazing data set. There will be no science fiction here. I've looked at the data set and channel how to make it make sense to us such that we can relate it with any data set that we have in our respective organizations. All right. So having said that, I will be sharing my screen now so that I can start the conversation. Please, if you can see my screen, just type yes or just indicate by letting me know that you can see my screen.
I can see your screen. Thank
you. Awesome. Thank you. All right. The tool we're going to be using is called Rapidminer. Rapidminer is one of the data mining tools that we have today in the world of data science. We have other tools like Weka and Kmeans, right? But amongst the three I've mentioned, Rapidminer seems to be the most flexible to use. I started my data science live with Python, moved to R. Then after discovering this tool, found out that, there's no point taking too much time writing codes anymore when tools have already been built to simplify everything that we need to do within data science, so that the focus will be around making sense of the outcome of the model. Right. So this Rapidminer, I'll come back to the data set. This Rapidminer, right? When you launch Rapidminer, this is the starting screen you get to see, right? So I'm going to close this. It has its own workbench. Like I'm sure most of you have used various tools to carry out different kinds of activities. So it's almost like that, like a workflow kind of a tool, right? All those codes that you have been writing, if you are using R or Python, the Rapidminer founders and the developers have already built all those here, right? See this place where I'm circling. They refer to them as operators, right? Your models, your whatever, everything in data science, they already have it built as a model. So all you need to do is just to drag and drop, and you move. Yeah. So I'm going to be starting out by letting us know how to structure our work so that everything looks tidy, right? On the left here, you see various folders in form of desktop. It looks like a screen, right? So those are folders. So we're going to start by creating, or before you start that, let me open the data set. So here is the data set. It's a Netflix data set. This data set is made up of ratings by customers. Those that watch movies on Netflix. Oh, I love this movie, they rate, right? And is the categories here are broken down into horror, romance and comedy, action, comedy, fantasy, right? So as people watch, they rate. Those data are being captured within the Netflix environment, right? It's being captured within Netflix environment, right? And we're going to be working with this data to make sense out of this data. So just picture this in your mind. As someone who works in Netflix, right? Or someone who works in a shopping or manages a shopping mall or online store, Jumia, and the rest, right? So you have this kind of data, right? This kind of data is what we refer to as unlabeled data, right? Unlabeled data in the sense that there's no label that is guiding us as to say whether there's a yes or no here, or to enable us to make predictions, right? So it's an unlabeled data, and of course, in data science world, when you have an unlabeled data, the model that comes to mind will be model that best fits or that best works with unlabeled data, right? And that is also classified under unsupervised learning, right? And I believe most of us here know what that means. I can just quickly explain that. Unsupervised learning means that there is no label in your data. It's as simple as that. There's not too many grammar on that or science fiction on it. There's no label in your data, but of course there are models that have been built, right? So models have been built by various programmers, right? And I mean, it's an algorithm or mathematical function that have been converted into a usable form called algorithm, or we call it model. So all they need is data to be structured in the form that they can take and make predictions for you or show you what makes sense out of the data. So we're going to be working with one of the unsupervised learning model called Kmeans. There are so many of them. We're going to be using Kmeans for this. All right. Please confirm I'm very audible, please, as I proceed. Can somebody just confirm? One person.
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
Yes, you are.
All right. So to structure our work, because one advantage of using Rapidminer is that it doesn't take time, right? I mean, you could spend like an hour building from scratch, but with Rapidminer, you don't waste your time doing such. So I'm going to start by structuring our, I mean, the project we want to work on today. We want to make sense of the data we have using Kmeans algorithm, and eventually we interpret the data, how to make business sense. So it means that from Rapidminer, you go to, close to this import data, you click on it, you see create or connect to repository, right? So you click on it, and it asks you either you want to create locally or AI Hub, right? And Rapidminer have an AI Hub whereby you can deploy your model and convert it to a web service with just a few clicks. So we're going to be working remotely now. So I click on next. I give it a name. So I give it a name, right? And click on finish. So that has been created. Right? So this is the project. Right, so you can give it any name, it doesn't matter, just give it any name. Then the next thing for you to do, right, you can right click, right, and click on create subfolder. So create a folder called data. This folder is going to hold our data set. Then you create another one called processes. So processes, or a process is our workflow design to and for the data science project that we're doing, right? So we have these two. Now you need to import the data here. You need to bring in the data here, right? So you just click on this import, tap the folder, right? If you want, click on import data. This will take you to wherever you've stored your data. Just go there. Mine is on my desktop. I just click on it. Click next. So it gives me a quick preview of the data set I'm looking at, right? I can decide to change the data type, whatever I want to do here, but it doesn't matter though. It doesn't matter. You can always do that within the workbench. All right, so when you get to this point, it's asking me where I want it to be. Of course, I want it to be in my data folder for proper structuring. So click finish. Depending on the size of your data, of course, it will pop up fast like this. If it's large, it's going to take quite some time to write it into the folder. All right, so once you've done that, click on design to take you back to the workbench, right? Click on design to go back to the workbench. So this is the data, right? All you simply need to do, you drag this data onto the workbench, right? Once you've done that, you connect this port, right? It's called output port. You connect the output port to the response port here, just like this, right? And to see your data, you click on play, and that's all, right? Let me close all this and run it again. So like I said, you drag the output port to the response port, and you run and you see your data without writing any single line of code. That's what we've just done now. And of course, for our exploratory data analysis, our EDA, you can make use of the Rapidminer Statistics tool to see your data. You can see the data types. If there's any missing data you see here, so you can do your data cleaning. Of course, we're not going into all that today. You understand? So there are no missing data. We're using a clean data, right? So all the activities that needs to be done around data processing will not be required. So this gives you a view, statistical view of your data. You can actually see them in distribution by spanning each and every field here. You can see this one, romance and comedy skew to the right. You can see action skew to the left, comedy, right, and as well as fantasy. So this gives you a view of what is in your data, right, without writing any single line of code. Likewise, Rapidminer, Rapidminer also gives this visualization tool, right, that you can use to view your data in distribution. It has so many charts that you can use depending on the data set you are looking at, depending on whatever it is that you want to do, right? You can bring in other you can bring other fields just to compare them, so many things that you can do within this space, right? So that is that on the data exploratory side of Rapidminer. So now, yeah, we move to the next thing. So we've seen our data, right? We'll be able to preview our data. So the next thing that I want to do now, we need to bring in our model. So to get in the model, right, you come to under operator, go to the operator section, and you type in so you can see it gives you what's it called? It gives you different models. There's so many models here. Or you can even type the word model, right? You see so many of them. But our focus today, just not to create any confusion, I'll focus on Kmeans. Right. So I dragged Kmeans onto the worksheet, right? All I need to do is to connect, because this is the data. So just picture it this way for those that are into Python and R. Of course, you've done your code to import the data into the variable you've defined. So now this retrieve move is the variable. So the data is the next thing. Now, if you want to connect it to your model, if you define, you've instantiated your model, right? So that's like what I've done here. I brought in clustering here, right? Yes, he gives it the name by default. Of course, these names can be changed. You can change this name to anything you want that will make sense. You understand? You can give it Kmeans. Okay, so likewise, this too, we can change the name to a meaningful description, right? So same thing. Yeah, so that's it. I can connect this to this to the result output, right? But before I do that, I want to also bring in a performance operator. Rapidminer, I've actually built in performance operators for every kind of model that you are working with. So here we're working with Kmeans model, right? There's I'm sure, of course, I'll be talking about Kmeans on a high level. There will be a different time where we can break it down. To the granular. You understand? So Kmeans work mostly with Euclidean distance, right? To know how close data is with each other. So we're going to be using the cluster distribution, right? Or let me first run it first so that you get to understand why I want to run that. All right. Let me go back. So on this side of the Rapidminer, it's called parameters, right? Irrespective of the operator you tap, they have their properties under parameters that you can go and set. So I click on Kmeans, right? There are parameters here already, so I can decide to give it any value. By default, it comes as 5. You can change it to 3. You can change it to 4, right? So let's say I want to work with 3 clusters for now, right? So if I run, if I run this it's going to give me, it's going to group the items into 3 clusters, right? It's going to group it into 3 clusters, as you can see, right? So what that means is that if I go into these clusters, right, I'll be able to see how it has grouped it and how I can make business sense out of it. If you change it to 5, right, change it to 5, it's going to group the data into 5 clusters, breaking the items down into 5 clusters, 0, 1 to 4, that's 5, right? So clearly, our model is telling us that based on the data set that we have a total number of 291 items in the data set grouped into these various clusters, right? To see the centroid, right? So this is where the business sense now comes into play. Please, I would like you to pay attention to this part carefully, right? Okay. All right. So please, I want to pause for now and be sure that the class is really following before I start the analysis. Can someone confirm that they're really following?
We are following you, sir.
Awesome, awesome. All right, good. So we're almost at the tail end, right? Remember, we started with our data, which is from here, called the retrieve movie, right? The data has the following columns or attributes: horror, romance, comedy, action, comedy, and fantasy. Now, as an organization like Netflix, right, or a bank, or an insurance company, we now want to know or want to do targeted marketing to our respective customers, such that the returns or the expected results, right, will be massive. Instead of just sending mails to all our customers and eventually, I mean, we send to the wrong people and nobody is going to pay attention to whatever it is that we are trying to sell to them, right? So in interpreting the results, what the model has done, or what Rapidminer has done with the model for us, is to show us the respective clusters. Remember, the outcome showed that we got to show that we have 5 clusters, 0 to 4, right? Under the centroid, right? You have it broken down in this way. So what this means is that per row, right? For every row, we have horror, romance, comedy, action, comedy, and fantasy. Now let's start with the horror. What this means that what this result means that customers, right? Every customer that are classified under cluster 2, right? If you can see cluster 2 is 82.671. It means that the customers there love horror movies more than customers in cluster 0 or customers in cluster 1, right? Followed by customers in cluster 4 and customers in cluster 3. What that means is that as a digital organization or if Netflix want to target customers with their new horror movies, they will target customers in cluster 2 and they will get the result they are looking for, because those set of customers are the kinds that will always want to watch this kind of movie. So I moved to romance and comedy. Now, under romance and comedy, you can see that customers that belong to cluster 1, yeah, happen to be customers that love romance and comedy movie, right? While the rest, you can see they are very, very minute. So as a business person, I will focus on cluster 1 alone. When I go to action, right? If I go to action, you can see that the highest in this row, right, is 80.9. And what that means that customers in cluster 3, if I target them with new movies coming on board into my Netflix platform, I will get more view. I will get them to, if they've not subscribed for that month, they will go and subscribe to want to see what's going on, or what's the latest action movie, followed by those in cluster 2 and then 4, followed by cluster 0. Right, but the main target here will be cluster 3. So that's the way to make sense of the data using Kmeans cluster. Remember when we started, there was no, there was no label to guide. right? But Kmeans model allows you to work on unlabeled data, but sometimes you structure it well, and it's able to help you put things into cluster, right? Another business value here is if you, I mean, let's say you're in a bank, I mean, working in a bank, you have customers and their, I mean, you have customer data and their respective balances, right? And you have a particular product that's maybe in an investment that starts with 10 million and above, for instance, right? You can use Kmeans clustering on such. It's able to help you group the customers, and you now know for this set of customers, I mean, these are the kind of customers I should be able to target, right? And look for other product that will fit in other customers that don't fall under that bucket. So see these clusters as buckets, right? See them as buckets where people fall under. So the model is able to enable you cluster them. So I move to fantasy. So if you look at the fantasy tool, you can see that those in cluster 1 happen to be people that love more fantasy movies, followed by cluster 2. The rest are, I mean, there's no point sending to them. Yeah, you might send to them, but you end up not really getting response or getting the desired outcome compared to those in cluster 1. All right. So there's one more thing I want to do so I can show you the clusters. I need to bring in the performance, what's it called? The performance operator.
All right. Chikoze, please, before you continue, we have some questions.
All right, please go ahead.
I said you are a bit fast, so maybe you can just take it easy. I think so. As running it, some people are running, so maybe you give them 2 minutes to also run. Then Esther said, what is the basis of definition for each cluster? If I can get that right, she's asking, how do we know which clusters are supposed to be put in which buckets?
Okay. So
Anne, sorry, the last question. Anne said, is it possible to tag name it to each cluster per specific name? I don't know if I got that. Is it possible to tag or name each cluster per specific name?
Per specific, I hope I understand, but I'll attempt to answer that. When I do, I would like her to confirm if I got the answer.
I think the person is trying to ask is like, let's assume this example we're using now. Let's say we are breaking these clusters into locations. Let's say cluster 1 is Lekki, cluster 2 is Amuwo-Odofin, cluster 3 is Ikoyi, something like that. Can we tag it that way? So I know, okay, when I'm talking of cluster 1, I'm talking about a particular location. I'm talking about customers in Lekki. I'm talking about customers in Yaba, something like that, I guess.
Okay. So thanks. That's like 4 questions now. Please, you help me to repeat. I mean, to remind me of anyone I didn't remember to answer. But let me start with this one now. So note that the original data set does not come with a cluster. You have to note that, right? The clustering here is not like our cell clusters the way we know it here. I mean, in our real life. Do you understand? So see like a bucket or a grouping. That grouping is done by the model itself. No, you are not the one that will determine what that cluster should be. Now it works with a method called the Euclidean distance, right? It looks through and it looks through the entire data set to look at how close, right? All the ones that are around maybe let's say within this block here. Look at this horror now. It looks through this horror. All the values that are high, right? It does some permutation there and fetch out all those ones and cluster them together and separates the rest. Anyone that is able to separate them out of that cluster, meaning that the ones that carry heavy weight, if I rate something 1 and you rate something 5, it means that you have more emotional connection to that than me. Do you understand the way the clustering works? You get? Now, there are some data sets you will see like this. Let me do something like this. Let me just type this now. Say, assuming, or let me use the word the Netflix ID. Netflix ID, for example. Assuming this is my ID, right? This is somebody else's ID, right? Yeah. So depending on the data sets you are working with, right? Now, the clustering will end up what's the word? The clustering will end up showing us all the people in their respective clusters, which is what part of what I want to show, right? And I hope when I show that, that will make sense to the person that asked the question. Okay, so that's one. Please, if I've not got to if I answer your question and you feel that it's not in the, I mean, it doesn't portray what you're asking for, please, you can re-ask it again. Let me understand. I can answer appropriately. What are the other two questions, please?
All right, so I think you're on the right track. So just continue. We want to see how you want to tag these IDs and names to the clusters. I think it will make it easier for us to understand.
Definitely. All right. Okay. Okay. Sorry, let me just quickly save this. Where am I? All right. So for those following, let's do something. Can you click on save? Right. Click on save so we can save our model that we're designing. So when you do that, it will pop. It will bring up this menu for you. Then you locate your folder that you created for this. Then click on the processes, right, and save it with a name that reflects what the thing is all about. Do you understand? So you do that, right? So this is what I'm looking for: performance.
This thing is grayed out, and I think the experience on Mac is not the same thing on Windows. You're using a Mac.
No, it's the same. I also have it on my Windows.
I noticed when you were trying to create a repository. I mean, what the option you brought out for is not what I have on my own. I'm using a Windows. It's not the same. That's why I said that.
Okay, can I know what the challenge is?
Okay, well, for me, I created a local repository, and I'm able to drag the operators you use. I've used them. I've used the retrieve operator.
Fantastic.
But I don't think it's not. I'm not able to save.
Save. Okay, click on the. Can you see? Can you see this icon here? This disk icon. Can you click on it?
Yeah, this icon is grayed out.
It's grayed out.
Yes.
Just like this. It's grayed out just like this, right?
Yes.
And you've not saved at all.
I've not saved.
Because it's only grayed out if you've saved. Like me now, mine is grayed out. But not a problem. I don't think it's causing you any harm. It's not causing you any issue.
But if I drop down the arrow, it's telling me save process as.
So you can see now. See, take a look at mine. When you click on this, because I've saved already, it's already showing me this.
Yes.
Do you understand? So if you click on it, it's also going to bring out the click. Can you click on it? Click on it.
Yeah. So I brought it up. I've clicked on it.
So did it give you a window where you can see your folders?
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, you can give it a name. You can now give a name to that process and save it in the target folder. It will save it as well. You understand?
Yeah.
I believe you must have saved accidentally, but once you save, it grays out. You get. Are we good?
Okay. Yeah, good.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so I'm picking this performance operator, right? Please, it's called a cluster distance performance. Please confirm you're with me. Let me be sure that we're on the same page, please. And also, the person who said I'm too fast, may I know where you've gotten to so I can help?
Well, with you, I just felt you were moving because we're trying to follow as you're demonstrating with Rapidminer.
Okay.
They were okay, we're fine. Yeah.
Thanks for that. Okay, so please, can you drag in? Can you search for performance? Right, when you search for performance under operators, you will see a lot of performance will be there for different models. Remember, I said something that depending on the kind of model that you're working with, the Rapidminer guys have already built performance operator for you, so you don't need to write any code. All you need to do is to drag the performance operator for it. So because Kmeans falls under clustering, right? So we are going to take this clustering performance operators. So choose cluster distance performance.
All right, Chico, can I ask a question on behalf of everybody? So why are we interested in bringing in this performance, right? Why are we interested in it? What's the essence? We've done our things. Why performance? Thank you.
Thanks for that. So now the performance will let us know if this model that we've selected, Kmeans, this clustering or unsupervised learning model that we've selected, right? Whether it fits in to the data that or fits in to work with the data that we've selected. Do you understand? And you're also going to show us all the clusters, right? Because if you recall, when I ran this initially, all we have is the total number of clusters, as well as the breakdown of the explanation of what this means for business decision making, to know who and who we should target, right? There's no way I can see the items grouped into various clusters. That is, which cluster does this one belong to? Yes, we've seen it here. We've seen it here that says cluster this, cluster this, cluster that. But we need to know the various items, right? All these 38 items, 70 items, we need to see them broken down so that we can work with them. Do you understand? So yes, we need to send, like I said, we need to send targeted emails to people. Let's use this horror movie now, to people in cluster 2. But where are they, right? I don't have them shown here. Do you get? So this performance operator will show us the performance as well as the cluster. Look at it. You can see connected by itself. Yeah, so the items in the respective clusters for us to take action. You get? So by the time we look at the performance of the model, we see that, oh, yeah, this performance is not looking good. Then look for the next model that will best give you what you're looking for. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, that's clear. Ifeanyi, do you have a question? I can see your hands up. Please go ahead.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead, please. Feel free.
Yes, please, your name before your question, please.
Okay, my name is Oyetunji Abiodun. Yes. This performance, does it have any correlation with accuracy? Do you? Hello?
Sorry, I forgot I muted myself. Yeah. So, what's your name again?
My name is Dr. Oyetunji Abiodun.
Okay, doctor. Thanks, doctor, for that question. So this has nothing to do with this model called Kmeans, right? Right. Its own performance doesn't have anything to do with the accuracy calculation that you are referring to. You get those if you are doing things like predictions. If you're using prediction models like decision tree, KNN, and artificial neural network, you get logistic. So all those have to do with prediction. Then their performance, you see, by the time you run it, it will show you the stats. This one, when you run it, you won't see accuracy in that statistics. Do you understand? So you get to see this kind of performance review on clustering algorithms. Do you understand what I've said?
Yeah, very perfect.
Can I run it so that you see? I think it's better when I run it so you see. Then I'll be able to explain it so it makes sense to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So please, are we on the same page now, people?
Yes, we are.
Sure. Okay, so you know, there's
hello.
Go on.
Sorry, Ifeanyi, is that you? Please go ahead.
Yes. There was a time I missed out because of my network. So I don't know. I can't flow with the current.
No, we've been answering questions. We've not gone. Okay. I don't know. Okay, have you got into this place? See this one. These two. Are you here?
Where I was before my network went. When you were creating the folders, you created the data. You imported the data file and all that.
So do you have this and this? Do you have this and this? Did you create these two folders? Under this place, you see create folder and create subfolder, I mean.
I've not created it yet.
Yeah, go on. Like you right click on the initial folder that you've created. I don't know if did you create the initial folder?
I was just flowing before. I've not started creating my own. I was just listening to you to follow you.
Okay. I don't
All
know
right,
what
so
your
if
plan.
I don't worry, Chikoze, don't worry. If I
Okay.
don't worry on the community group, right? You will get the video after the class. Just try to follow through with what you're saying and ask questions as much as you can.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Moji, for that, and thanks, Ifeanyi, for asking that question. Please, everyone on this session, right? Please do not cram anything that we're doing here at all. It's not. I mean, it's not. It mustn't be that way. Do you understand my point? Because once you're able to measure what you've done, right, you know how good it is. Because note, there is no perfect model in this world. I'm yet to see one. Even in my master's class, even in the debates put up with other foreign colleagues that were there is no perfect model. Models evolve over time. What the most important thing in data science and machine learning is the data, right? Once you have that data, right, and you come up with your strategy to work with to build your model and work with that your model for the main purpose that you are creating it for. That's what matters. Note, the questions being asked from the way I've seen, right, shows that some people's mindset is skewed towards predictions. We're not doing predictions here. What I'm doing here is not prediction. What we're doing here is clustering, right? Clustering in machine learning, because there is no label, meaning there's no way I can tell what to do with this data, right? This data that we're working with. But with clustering, you're able to now make sense out of the data. Remember, you need to be governed around what this data is all about. This is a movie data from a company called Netflix, right? That has ratings by people. Those that watch movies, they rate. Some people don't rate. For those that rate, their system captures them and put them in the respective columns being rated, right? So we're not saying, with this kind of thing. We have, of course, Netflix are into movie productions. They get more and more movies. You get, so a way to get people to continuously use their platform is what we're looking at to address. To say, if Chigozie say he liked a fantasy movie and a new fantasy movie is coming on board, right? They can alert me via email or push notification like they do. I get push notification from them to say, hey, this movie too, right? And by the time you look at the genre, you find that, this is actually a fantasy movie. So it's just for you to understand what we're saying. And of course, Moji has said she's going to share the video. I believe that will be able to guide what you do in case you have on that data set to work with. You get. Now, for this performance operator, right? You drag the and again, please, if you mouse over this output ports, right, you can get a decision of what they stand for, right? It's very important. You can use that to know what exactly they stand for. I mean, of course, I don't expect you to understand everything that Rapidminer today, but over time, you start small, you start knowing them. So you drag this to the cluster. The CLU stands for the cluster, right? And you drag this to the example data. Those things I'm saying might be high level, but I mean, on that day I'll be able to break it down for you guys. Now, for us to see the outputs, I drag the performance to the response. I drag the example data set. Actually, in Rapidminer, they refer to data set as example set. So sometimes when you Google, you might not be seeing that they will be referring to it as an example set. So I drag all this tree to my response. So when I run it now, I should be able to get my output. You get under performance vector. So, did you notice something? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Chigozie. Yeah, sorry to have to take you back. So I tried to upload the PDF document called Kmeans, but then the response I get is, it's not a binary file.
Oh, PDF. You're working with the PDF.
The K-means document.
No. You don't need to upload that. We have the PDF. You are uploading the movie set, the movie data set, not not
so
the
yes,
code.
not yes.
Okay.
Upload the Excel file.
Did you get that?
I did that.
Yeah.
So I saw the K-means writing.
No, you don't need to upload that. That's just for your own consumption.
That's just fine for you to read.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe you are good now.
Yes, we are. I think we can move on.
All right. Thank you. So now, please, did you notice something when I did that? Did you notice? Can you see this now? No, I mean, we didn't have this before, right? We didn't have this before. These are the respective clusters. I can even sort them. These are the respective clusters that we have. So what that means that, okay, I'm sorting them in descending order. So you can see cluster 4. Okay, so what this means is that this data, this output that we're seeing here, right, based off this our, what is that, our, based off this centroid, right, to say, oh, every customer in cluster 2 should be targeted towards, should be sent horror movies if any new one is out, right? So what that means is that the model is able to help us cluster all those items, all those people. So assuming these IDs, look at these IDs here. Assuming these are customer Netflix IDs or Netflix numbers, ID to identify each customer. What it means are all these ones, right? Sorry, let me take a look at that output again. I have cluster 2 for horror. Oh, sorry. Cluster 2 for horror. Now you can see all these cluster 2 like this, right? This data, if I wanted to go for more advanced, right, the data can be written straight into your SQL database, right? It should be written into your SQL database for there's a process in place that will be notifying those customers. So let's say you set up a process in place to say, okay, fine, because Rapidminer has a tool to write to what's it called? It can help you write out to CSV, Excel, right? And yeah, Excel. It also has just name it. Think of it. It has it there. It can actually help you write to a database. I think with this control called store. Yeah, so the output. What I'm trying to say is that the output of what we've done. Remember, the whole purpose is not for us to be building model or say we are building model, right? We are building this model to be able to help us cluster our customers into the various clustering that have been defined by the model to enable us target those customers in those buckets or in those clusters. Meaning, like I said before, for fantasy, as you send to everybody in cluster 1. So what that means is that this output, by the time you send this, for those that are used to SQL Server or that can write query, once this gets into your table, and you already have a process in place that can pick from those records and send to everybody in what's the word now? Everybody in that cluster to notify them to say, hey, you have this new product. Can you go to the platform and enjoy yourself? So you can see it makes that easy. I don't know if anybody have actually done Kmeans clustering and to know how it's not that easy and straightforward for you to get clusters out like this. Do you understand? Without writing any single line of code. You get. Now, let me go to the performance vector. In Rapidminer, right? The performance. Somebody asked a question initially, and I tried to let the person understand that based on the algorithm you are using, it has its own clustering performance, and its interpretation is not like the one you talked about. That has to do with what's that word you use again? Accuracy. You get. But of course, you know your accuracy in what's it called for your Kmeans based on the value you get in the respective centroids, right? I did mention that we can come back to that conversation around Kmeans, the theory around Kmeans algorithm. So that's only Kmeans works with centroids, right? The distance in the centroid, for as long as it's below 0, it means that your model is fine. That's just the basic rule. For as long as it's below 0, anything that has to do with, if you look at this, let me see if I can expand this. Okay, all these places that have centroid, average within centroid, you can see each and every one of them, they're all below 0, right? As well as this Davis Boudin. Davis Boudin, yeah. If you read up about Kmeans, right, you'll come across this guy, right? For as long as the values are below 0, your model is fine and it's fit for purpose. That's the way this clustering works in terms of performance. But if you're not having anyone above 0, then you need to check down your data, right, to ensure that either you need to, of course, I didn't normalize here. Like I said, this is just a perfect data set. There's no need to normalize because I don't have any abnormal data set that is out of range, right? And I don't want to go into all that today, so I don't create any confusion for those that are just coming into this for the first time. Okay, so I'm happy to pause. Now. So if anybody have any question, right, within this space, I can respond accordingly. So over to the house. Thank you. And also, please note, there is no stupid question. There's no perfect question.
Junior, you want to say something?
Okay, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please, it's a time for questions and answer. So this is Chidiogo speaking. If you have a question, please, you can indicate, and we're going to call on you to ask your question. So how many people have questions, or who has a question? Any questions so far? Please indicate. You can write it down in the comment box. Any question?
Yes, there is question.
Okay. Proceed, please. Proceed.
Okay. Good afternoon, dear house. My name is Biodun. I don't know if we are going to get this the video of the lecture. It seems we are not running at the pace at which Chigoze is running, so that we can go back and practice more, so that we can be on the same page when next we are having the class.
Okay, I think for that one, yes, there will be a video after this whole session. The video will be posted in the community group, for us to go back and look at it. Thank you. Another person has a question. Okay, Rasak, Abiodun, and one other. The next person can ask a question, please. Proceed, please.
Good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon.
Yeah, my name is Olushola Falore. I'm joining live from Akure, Ondo State, please. Hello?
Hello, proceed.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, my question is, someone like me, I'm very new to data analysis because I won't lie, all what I'm saying here, they are so blank to me. But notwithstanding, I can learn and pick up. Please, does this Kmeans, is it related to programming languages, or this Python? So because I'm just trying to follow up, because many people have been saying that will there be a recorded version of this? I also asked, if there's a recorded version of this training. Then another question from me now is that after getting all this training, where and in what means can we put these things to practice? As in, how do we put this training to practice? Maybe, helping organizations and we having something to make out of it, not just allow our training to go just like that. Thank you.
Okay, I think I can help you with that. Your first question says. Your first question says, please, please, can you mute your mic, please? Somebody's on the road and it's disturbing. Okay, your first question says how to follow up. You asked if it's a programming language. This very one is not a programming language. We have a programming version of this, and that's when you use either your R or your Python. But this is a simplified version. Because if we are to do this thing he did now with programming, trust me, you're going to write lots of codes for you to get these things now. And but it's a way of using a graphics design interface approach to it, and it makes it very simple. Like you are saying it now, it looks so simple. So there's a programming language for it, which is R and which is Python, which we also do in this platform, EverythingonData. Then you asked another question. You said that you don't know anything about this at all. You don't have an idea. I know a lot of people here are new and they don't have idea, and they probably maybe like jumping into the middle of something. So I think the global president is going to run we are going to have what is it called? A session. It's just a very brief session where he's going to explain what we do in this platform, because there are actually more to this. There is a foundation class where you can actually start from the foundation, so that when he's saying this kind of thing, when they say Kmeans clustering, what is it called? Algorithms, you can understand exactly what they mean. So there is a platform for this, and the next person is going to explain everything about it to you, so you know how to join. You can join the platform and you can progress from there. Then your next question says how to put them into practice. Okay, I think that one is the easiest thing so far, because globally now data is all we need. Data is all that is in vogue now. If you move across the globe now, data is all that is in vogue, and it's used in so many organizations, so many places. It's used to do a lot of things. He just showed you one of the things that you could do with data. Now this is Netflix. So if somebody tells you that Netflix is video, for fun. If somebody tells you that Netflix runs on data, are you going to agree? You might not really. You might say, Netflix is not. What has Netflix to do with data? But if Netflix can run on data, where everything is video and theme and for fun. Now imagine what happens to those organizations that run on finances, on numbers, like Google, Amazon, PayPal, and the rest of them. So there are lots and lots and lots of places in Nigeria, beyond Nigeria, where all these things could be applied. And we've gotten a lot of testimonies in this very platform where people applied for jobs, and those people got the jobs. So once you queue in, the next person, when you get the introductory aspect of it and how to join, when you join and learn, you grow with it. That is where you see the benefits of these things we are doing here today. So I don't know if I've answered your question.
Okay, before you respond, let me just chime in. And thanks for that wonderful response. And also thank the person who asked the question for asking that sincere question. You understand? Okay. So, of course, we're all in this same shoe when the buzz of data science started. The question is, to what value, to what end? Do you understand? It's a question that keeps running through the minds of everyone. Because, of course, I'm happy to hear you say that you are willing to learn, and that's the motivation. Because I'm sure the team will get in touch with you to know which industry you belong to. Do you understand? And know how to fit you in. And I mean, all those concerns will be no more, right? So the demo I've done here, right? The purpose of this exercise, right, is not about turning into a data expert overnight. You get no, but just to whet your appetite to know that, hey, for those that write code, right, there are other tools that can help you do the same thing that you do with code. And like I said, I actually started with Python. I moved to R today I'm doing Rapidminer, right? And I'm happy with myself because one, I don't need to worry myself about writing too many codes. All I need to do is to just drag and drop and I'm done, right? And eventually, see this thing you're seeing here, eventually we end up hosting it as a service, right? Whereby if you have an application, I don't know what industry you belong to, you have an application today, right? The application can be talking to that service for decision making, everything working in an automated fashion, in an automated fashion. You understand? So yes, I believe you're in the right place, and the team will definitely set you in the right direction. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir, for that. So any other question, please? Any other person has a question? Okay, I can see some hands up. Okay, Olushola, ask a question, please. Olushola, ask a question.
Yeah, I have asked my question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I just did now.
Okay,
I'm not that just asked the question.
Okay. Then Abdul, ask a question, please. Ask a question.
Okay, what I want to find out is if you join an organization that is using Python or R, and you are not good with Python or R, and you know how to use Rapidminer, can you tell the organization that you are not going to use Python or R, and you're going to use Rapidminer to do your work? Will it be acceptable?
Okay,
yes.
noted by the
Let me take that.
Yeah.
So thanks for the question, Abdul. So the thing is this: what organizations are after right now is productivity, time to market, and speed, because competitors are out there. So if you come in, just like me now, for example, if I go into any environment, right, because of my conviction and my determination and drive, I'll present my case, right? That's if the organization will say, no, you must use Python, no, you must use R and all that. It's not about using R or Python. It is the end game. So you and I can start off a task and I'll be done. You are still writing your Python. That's the difference between what I've presented and what those that do Python and R, I mean, will encounter. And I'm not saying that, I mean, if you want to learn R, you shouldn't learn R. It's fine. You get, but of course, like you said, when you get to such kind of organization, you need to have a strategic way to convince the whoever the lead is, right? And if the lead is somebody that have an open mind, of course, they will allow you to do your thing because it's the end result that matters. Yes. And if you check online, if you check the likes of LinkedIn, you will see even beyond your R and Python, some people use Spark. There are many tools for as long as it gives the end result. That's what matters. I hope I'll be able to answer the question.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chigozie. But can I add to that what you just said now? So what I wanted to say was that when you go for an interview, for example, and they're asking, they won't ask you, yeah, they might ask you to use Python, R, or something like that. You will tell them, yes, you can use a data tool, just like what Chigozie just said, that is, that is fast, that can do the same thing. And the major thing is that when you are talking about all these things, you need to make them understand the capability of what this machine can do, right? So they're not just saying, yes, I cannot use Python, but I can use Rapidminer. But you know what, for example, Kmeans function is. So you want to tell them that I can use Rapidminer to do so many of these are going to drive most of these things for the business, and this is what it can do. You speak like an analyst of a data scientist, so that if they know that, yes, you know what you are bringing to the table. Some of them might even go further to say, oh, you know what, come and do a demo. Let us see the capability of what you're saying. So just like Chigozie says, you need to be passionate. You need to be confident of yourself. And you need to make sure that what you are going for to say you can do, you can actually do it. Right? So that's just what I wanted to add.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, any other question, please? I think there are some people raising up their hands.
I have a question. Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I have a question. First of all, I'm new to this data stuff in general. When I came into this group, I had a mindset of, those who are who have other different career path, different understanding of different industry are going to learn something new from scratch. So I tried to log in earlier on, so it's a bit difficult for me, though I came in a bit maybe half the way, and everything you're saying they sound like you're speaking in tongues to my ear, seriously. So I had my thought was we're going to start with, because I believe for every industry they have a general terminology, they have their mnemonics, what these things they mean and all that. So I was thinking maybe for now we're going to have something, a well enriched document, to like an introductory document to this program. So when you start saying letter K, letter S, I know what those things stands for. Apparently, I'm going to read 3-4 days to this class, so I understand what it means before I start coming to hear this thing here. Now, what you're telling me, what you're saying right now to me, where I'm coming from is far, far, far from data. But you're telling me right now, I can look at you for the whole day, nothing's entering my head because I don't understand what you're saying. So if I think it's best we take it from the scratch, like A is A, B is B. I'm not saying we're going to take the whole time doing, but at least let's understand some basic things. Let's read up ourselves an extent. Then before we come to these platforms, try to click an app or take me to chapter 4, chapter 5. To me, I feel
okay.
I'm not on point at all.
Omashaye, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I understand where you're coming from. Okay, after the questions, I will just take a slide. It's the thing we'll do here. I will share a slide with all of us. It's something that was shared on the WhatsApp group when you joined for the training. So that will take us to I will introduce the very basics where you can learn even if you don't have anything, if you don't know what D stands for, even in data, that's where we'll bring you up to speed properly. But this is just to give you a general overview of the capability of what Kmeans and in general what you can achieve. When you go to Netflix, for example, you are saying that they're recommending movies to you, or some movies are coming forward to you as much as possible. It's just a means of telling you this, just to show you how they achieve that, how they achieve some of these things. So, but I'll introduce a general a slide on some of our trainings, which are free up to some extent to introduce you to the basic level. So let's take other questions, then we'll take it from there.
Okay, quick one. Omoshe is, he was right. Omoshe, the intention, right, is not to confuse anyone, right? Another, to make you an expert today. The intention is to let you know that, there are other ways of doing machine learning, data analytics, all those stuff, right, without writing any single line of code. Do you understand? Of course, the team, of course, they will assist. I'm sure before we end this program, by the end of the program, they'll be in touch with you to put you in the right track. I hope that clarifies the reason.
Fine, that's fine.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jose. So Omashaye, I can see that you're already on stream 18. Don't be confused. I didn't want to invite you guys, but I just wanted you to see the power of what data can do, right? And that's why this link was shared with you guys. We are starting from the scratch on your class. Just have an open mind and see the possibilities, so that by the time you get to this point, you will be able to connect with the dot. Okay?
That's fine.
Hello, this is Aziz.
Okay, hello, Aziz. You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to thank the organizer, Everything on Data, and our trainer, Chigozie, for this great session. And we are in the era of low code, and I'm happy to know that, to hear that we have a tool that can help us facilitate our work. And like the other person asked that, if you are asked if you cannot do Python or R, nowadays we have the business. So people are already interested in the business that can quickly produce a solution to a problem. So if you're in the business now, so I think there's no need for asking if you know R or Python. So the era of low code now or no code now has been the buzzword in the industry now. So going back to my question is around the workflow that the trainer explained. If you look at the workflow, we have like 3 processes. We have retrieve the model itself and the performance. So my question here is the connector. So if you look at the first two processes, you see that there is just one connector in between the two. But looking at the K-means and the performance, the model and the performance now, I can see there is the joint there is kind of different, is different from what I can see in between retrieve and K-means and the performance to the output. So how can we, what is this kind of joint? What does it really mean? If you look at it, it's like something backing each other. So what kind of connection is this?
Okay, thanks. The voice sounds familiar. Aziz.
Yes, is your former staff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right, good. So Aziz, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for that question. So I don't know what workflow tools you've used in the past. Yeah, I get you. It's kind of I really don't want to go deep, but you're asking me a question that will make me go deep so that I don't confuse other people. Do you get? Okay. But let me do a simple illustration for you. Let me. I don't know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can. Okay,
good. So now there's something Rapidminer does. I'm going to cancel. I'm going to disconnect all of them now. Oh, sorry. Take a look. Take a look at this performance. Take a look at it. You notice everything is gray. On this side, you can see it's gray. So now I'm going to take them off now. Just observe what you see. You can see it's red now, Abi?
Yes.
Now, in your C# when you're writing your code, right? You now, you put something, maybe you are using a keyword instead of a variable, right? The IDE will just flag that whatever red to say, hey, something is wrong here. Do you understand now?
Yeah.
So now this data has moved from here to here into this model, right? I want to see the output of this model, right? You get my point. Here you have the two. They call these things output ports. This is the input port, like BStock. I don't know if you've done BStock before. There's input port. There's output port. Output port connectors. You get. Now I need to connect the model to the model, because if you notice, this is not talking about this one. He's not even looking at this one. He's looking at these two. Do you get my point?
Yeah.
You get my point. So by the time you connect to it, right, it takes away the, what's it called?
The red
flag, right? Let me use that here. Okay, look at it here. I think this makes sense. Look at what I've done. I've moused over it. You see is there one error?
Yes, I can see.
Do you get my point? So it needs me to connect to it as well too.
Oh, okay.
So now, what it means that when this data, now what it means that I pass this model, this cluster, I pass it into this place, right? Into this NG. Of course, the implementation is hidden from us. I have as well passed the, if you notice what he said, the error he gave you there, we're talking about the example set. Let me just show you again. Where is the, okay, I think the errors are, they differ. Let me go back ahead. So you can see example set. That means data set. Now, the one below holds the, of course, by the time we go deeper, you know, the one below holds the data set. I take it to the, they call it the example set here. The one at the top holds the cluster, of course. So now, both the cluster and the example set are inside this performance. So this performance will not do its own gymnastics that are abstracted from us. So we don't want to know. All we care is that give us the outcome. And that's why when I ran it, you now start seeing this one. This was never there before, as well as this performance. Do you get my point? So it's like I pass whatever I have here into this one, pass everything here into this one. That's how it flows like that. So that's the reason why that happens. Yeah.
Thanks.
And of course, you can't just send only one. It won't work. Yes, it won't work.
Exactly. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, let's take one more question, please.
Thank you. I'm still Dr. Abiodun Oyetunji. Yeah. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I quite appreciate the organizers and including the trainer for today, Chigozie, if I'm right. And I'm really elated to see that there is a program like Rapidminer. I know of R and I know of Python, and I can use them as well. And it baffles me that, oh, why am I cracking my head when I have something that can do this for me? And I will quickly summarize my own points. Like the person that asked about, oh, where do we use it and the rest. These days, data is now the oil that every company relies on. Unlike in Nigeria, where we rely back on our maybe agriculture, our petroleum, data is the oil that is bringing money to every organization, whether educational institutes, even as an individual. And there is nowhere you are going now if you don't have knowledge of how to use data to inform, then you are backward because everybody is now technology savvy. Yes, my little question is, after Chigozie has ran this, I could comprehend, but I was expecting whether he's going to show us how to now export the results to wherever we now want to use it. That's just my simple question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Doctor. Interesting. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah. That was not part of the plan, right? Because, I mean, we would like to start from the basis so that everybody can be carried along. Of course, if you ask me, can I export it to Excel, CSV, into a database? Yes. So they are all doable. The team will definitely make plans and organize the what's it called, the intro to Rapidminer and the usage and the value. You understand? So in that class or that section, you will get to see more. So this is just an introductory class, not to make it too complicated. So please bear with us.
Okay, Chigozie, please. Sorry. The last person spoke, but please, I want to ask something. President Abeg, let me just ask something very, very, and it's still in line with what Doc just asked now. This Rapidminer, can it be used fully in place of either R or Python? Okay, like R is for is a data. It uses to replace. It's used mostly by statisticians. You know, when you want to do statistics, when you have a statistics background, very good statistics background, and you want to go further into data science. Then Python is when you have a programming background and you want to go further into data science. So this data Rapidminer, can I say, okay, I want to drop R now and I want to focus on it fully? Can I have the full package of data science in this Rapidminer, or is it just like it does part of the job? I don't know if you understand my question.
I understand you.
Since it makes things very easy, so like so we know if.
I'm happy to hear that question. I'm also happy to know that what's it called? You are skilled in using R and Python. So 100%, it does everything R and Python does. Remember, I said that I came from the background of Python to R and to this. Do you understand my point? And it's not. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't do your R or know your R. Don't get it mixed up. Now there are some components within Rapidminer, right? Just to aid or to allow those Python guys and R guys to also come on board, right? So they also have an operator or a control that you can drag in and you can do your script. You get my point? But very minimal, right? I read that up as well too. Again, so why the reason why it really didn't take me time is because I already have an idea of what R and Python is all about. You get, right? And remember, today, just like the doctor said, yes, if they say data is the oil, that's fine. But for the business themselves, what they want is results. So the question is, all this no code, they're taking over whether we like it or not. Low code, they're taking over whether we like it or not. So that if before it would take me 2 weeks to build a model, right? It takes me 2 weeks to build a model, right, and do the test and everything. And within Rapidminer, right, I'm able to do, of course, I finished building a fraud detection, which I've done in R before, right? I finished doing that as I yesterday night. I completed this early hours of this morning, which just to stretch it. So for you to be convinced, right? Of course, nobody can teach you everything. Have this tool installed in your system, right? Those things you've done before, right? You can do them here, inclusive of artificial neural network for predicting customer churn. You can do everything. You just see that you save more time. You save more time. You get. So 100% it will do all of them. You try yourself and you see.
Okay, thank you very, very much. I think this is very useful. On this note, please, the next thing we are going to do is I want to invite our global presidents to take us on the basis of why we are here, to give us introductory aspect of this whole data course. So, presidents, over to you.
Chidiogo, I think most of our questions already open up what I was about to share regarding why we're doing this. But let me share a photo with us shortly. Hold on, please. Okay, I don't know if you can see my screen. Hello, can you see what the picture I just shared?
Okay, yes. We can see it now.
Okay. All right. About at least we've had two questions surrounding
I think we've lost him.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you can hear you.
Okay. So this, can you mute your mic? Hello, can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Hello.
So
Hello, this,
I can hear you.
Okay, let me. Okay, this training is for 2 months. Then you will learn the very basics of data discovery and exploration, data storytelling, storyboarding. They will do 3 capstone projects, which also comes with a certificate in data analytics and BI. We understand that you don't just jump into it, especially when you don't have the knowledge of data. Yes, you might have been playing with data, but you need to know why you're doing what you're doing and what those data that you're looking at means. So this is the class that will take you into it. The first 3 weeks of the class is free, just to expose us to the very beginning part of data. And I can assure you, I started this. I was part of the first class of this particular training. That was in 2019, and I can tell you it was very valuable. Prior to that, I've used Rapidminer in the past. That was around 2018. That was my first exposure to Rapidminer. I've used K9, I've used Dwecker, and I've used all those tools. And I can tell you, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. But as someone explained, you need to understand the reason why you're doing what you're doing. Today we are talking about K-clustering model. There was a reason why that particular algorithm was picked for the exercise we want to do. There are several ones. You have the random forest. There are several things attending to several issues with your data. So depending on the type of problem you're trying to solve, is it a supervised learning or unsupervised learning problem that you're trying to solve? That will determine the type of model you pick. So it's very important for us to learn the very beginning of data and to understand how we can apply it, and even within our space. And also, even for those that want to switch to career in as a data scientist or data analyst or whatsoever, this is an opportunity for us to kick it start from the beginning and get the right foundation So tomorrow is the class, and if you have any other questions, for some of us that are still in the WhatsApp group for this particular training, you can ask your questions there. You can drop your questions, and you can also direct the question to the admin of the WhatsApp group. We'll be glad to attend to it and give you the very good information that you require. So if you have questions regarding this training that we've done today as well, as to moving forward on how to get more proficient in it, you can also ask the questions. We'll always give you a response and how to go about it. I think Abraham, I think that's all I have to share. We'll share this again, and the link will be dropped on the Microsoft.
Okay, thank you very much for that, our able president. I think you have summarized it all. On this note, we don't have any other thing at hand, so we would like to call it a day. So we have come to the end of the program. We thank, on behalf of Everything on Data, we say a very big thank you to everybody who has brought out their time, just a very invaluable time to participate in this program. We also thank the presenter. He has done a very good job. He has done a very good job and exposed us to a lot of things and a lot of information, which we are still going to build upon. Thank you, everybody, for this great occasion. So I think it's the end of it. Any other remark, any other thing anybody wants to say before we close? No.
But
okay.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
I'm not really. I didn't hear the president mention the price amount of the class, the course fee. I just want to know, because he didn't say that. He said that the first 3 weeks is free. Then it's 2 months course. How much is the full package?
Okay, President. President, are you there? Okay.
Hello.
Good
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, please, I would like to you. Actually, I was listening to all the questions that were asked. Just listening to me too, because like I'm telling you now, I don't understand the job because I joined in between because I couldn't get the connect. I had to chat Muji. But like somebody asked, I think the first person that asked the question, if the recording will be shared with us.
The recording will be shared in the group, yes. And I think every other information will be provided in the group. The community group, the community for data science. And if you're already in stream 18, you're also going to get it there. Any group, just know that any group you are.
No, I was in stream 15.
Streams, then you should be in the community, in the Telegram group, right? You are there.
Yes.
Then yes, if you are there, you don't have a problem. And any group you are going to get it. If you're in the Telegram, you're going to get it. If you are in the data science community, you're going to get it. If you are in the stream 18, you're going to get it. So all the information you have, you can also ask like for the price and everything will be communicated to you at that place also. So you get everything you want.
I don't know why. Please, can you hear me?
Yes.
What?
The price for the 36,000 naira for the whole program. That's what I can say.
Okay, 36,000 naira for the whole program. 36,000 naira for the whole program. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. I think it's a wrap now.
We're talking about installing this Rapidminer. Hello. Can you hear me, please? Can you hear me? network problem. It's okay.
We can hear you. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. You're talking about the installation of this Rapidminer. How do we do that?
The installation, I think the process for the installation, if you are in the group,